Moment though, we'll go live when the Soviet Union take on Czechoslovakia. Join us then. Welcome back to the Izvestia Cup, Day 5. We're getting set for this game between the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia, and what a game this promises to be. The Soviets still unbeaten in the tournament. They've had a fairly easy ride so far, or is that because, Richard, they're so good?
Well, the Russians have always had the team that everybody respects, and no matter who they seem to lose to, the NHL or other teams, they continue to breed good ice hockey players.
They still have to play the Czechs and the Canadians. They've had a good run against the Finns, the Swedes, and the West Germans. Let's take a look at the Soviets. They've got a good goaltender in Artur Irbe. They've got some great defensemen in Stельнов and Kusarov. Konstantinov, an experienced campaigner, number 22, is there. Keep your eye on Kristya Kakov, number 21. Number 13, Valery Kamensky, is one of my favorite players on this new-look Soviet side. Bykov is also there. He's one of my stars for the future, as is number 29, Sergei Fedorov. They'll be without Kazatanov, who's in practicing with the New Jersey Devils.
Well, Pavel Wolf's team has showed continuing signs of improvement throughout this tournament. They've had solid goaltending from Petr Briza. They've got excellent defense led by captain Movmir Bojic. They've got outstanding forwards with Padek Tupal. They've got Joseph Baranak, who's one of our favorites. He's had a good tournament thus far. Jan Bodia is a good forward. They've got number 22 and 23 link up very well together. That's Kamish and Siri Dudacek. Thomas Rensen sees a lot of ice out there, and he's a very good forechecker.
Well, we're live in Moscow right now at the Sports Palace Luzhniki. Teams just moments away from the opening face-off.
Well, we're going to have to see an outstanding performance from the Czechoslovakian team today to withstand the pressure that this Russian team can mount. We're going to have solid goaltending from Petr Briza today. It'll be a true test as they continue to try and groom him into the footsteps of Dominik Hasek.
So the Czechoslovakian side going with a young side. The Soviets are going with their full squad. They've got all the big guns out there. They, of course, are missing the likes of Fedosov, Starikov, Krutov, Larionov, Makarov, Mogilny, Pryakin, and Milnikov, who are all over playing in the NHL. And as I said, Kazatanov is over there working with the New Jersey Devils right now, trying to earn a spot. He, of course, played with the, well, one of the best club sides in the world, CSKA Moscow, the Red Army team. Good crowd here in the Sports Palace, awaiting the start of this game. An all-important one for the Soviets. They have to continue this unbeaten streak, Richard, because the Canadians are right behind them.
Oh, they certainly don't want to give up any ground. The Canadians are right there, and the win today for the Russians will really put pressure on the Canadians to continue to win their matches.
The Canadians, of course, also going with the young side. All their star players are in the NHL now, right in the thick of their season. The Canadians are 1/3 of the way through their 75-game season on the road, and that road literally extends from Davos, Switzerland, to the Soviet Union, to British Columbia, to Alaska, to Japan, all over the place. This is a result earlier on. West Germany picking up a victory over Sweden. Good one for them, 3-2 the final score. So the handshakes between Bykov and Bozic and the officials. The Finnish referee K.Kaisla will be in charge of this one. He has 2 Soviet linesmen, and there's a look at the Soviet lineup as we see it from the Soviet television point of view. Some amazing colors coming up on your screen. So the Soviets, as I said, going with their #1 squad, and they'll be playing from right to left. And of course, they have one of the most successful coaches in the world, Viktor Tikhonov. He's been around for well over 10 years, and what a record he has.
Well, it almost wouldn't seem right to see a Russian team in a tournament without that face of Viktor Tikhonov behind the bench, as he has been monumental in strengthening that program and continuing the success that the Russian teams have always had.
He, of course, hasn't been without criticism. A lot of players like Larionov and Makarov were not too impressed with the way he dictated to the players, told them what they could do, what they couldn't do, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of them wanted to go to the NHL, not only to be in the National Hockey League, the best hockey league in the world, but I think some of them just didn't agree with Viktor Tikhonov. But that's ice hockey, and you can't always agree with the coach. The coach is very successful, so it's difficult to knock him. Getting it back, the Soviets ticking it out over the blue line, and the Czechs playing from left to right with the red jerseys, the blue helmets. Konstantinov too far for Kamensky, and Bozic shoots it in. Konstantinov, a rink-wide pass over to Bykov. Byakin now. Still Byakin working his way in on the backhand side. Brija right out front, the shot, and that's in the net! Just incredible. Homutov, number 15, was right in there, right in the slot, right where he should be, and he picked up that loose puck and put it behind Brija.
I was just about to say, Paul, that the Czech defenders cannot afford to back in on the goalie. It's so early in this match, and they backed in on that goaltender. As you see, Byakin going toward the net, throws a backhander at it. Everybody seems to go by the puck, but Homutov is right there, and he wrist shots it up over Brisa.
Once again, Byakin takes a shot, but he also gets the rebound, puts it out front. 4 guys right in on the goaltender, 4 Czechoslovakian players, and that's not where they should be. They got to spread it out. Brija looking a bit unstable on that one as he pushes it away. The Czechs now having some problems in their own zone, and too many Czechs around that net. Not enough playing positional hockey, and the Soviets strike first here in the first period.
Well, the Czechs are going to have to play disciplined hockey and cover the men here, that's for sure. They cannot chase that puck around and stand around watching it. The Russians will make fools out of them in a hurry.
Brija, a great goaltender, but that won't do anything for his confidence. That's the last thing a goaltender wants, is to be scored on in the opening seconds. Cheka to the far side. Flipped in right on to Artur Irbe, Fedorov. Kravchuk. Kristiakov. Taken out into the neutral zone. Czechoslovakia now. Long shot by Lubina. Lubina sees a lot of ice time. Malahov. A long pass, a bit too far from anyone. That's going to go all the way down the ice. And Yanishushka touches it for icing.
Well, yesterday there were 4 or 5 players on the Czech team that saw a lot of ice time, and they aren't going to be able to see a lot of ice time today. They're going to have to change the lines quickly in order to be able to keep up with this Russian team.
So, back to the live action here. Coming across to Kravchuk. And a break right in on goal. They're looking around to see if there's going to be a penalty, but Brija was there to pick up that loose puck. Maslenikov was the man going in on the backhand side. Let's look at this again. He's being hooked from behind by number 24, Svensson, brought down, and eventually he goes skates first right into the goaltender, who comes up with a save. Well, now, we called this the other day. I'm a bit reluctant to call it again, but I'm going to put my foot in my mouth right now and say this time it's a penalty shot. It's a similar play to when the Canadians were involved against the Czechs, but the man fell this time, or didn't fall. This time he fell, so they're awarding a penalty shot. He's got one bite of the cherry. Igor Maslenikov goes in, And the goaltender comes up with a great save. Well, he really didn't make the most of that. He tried to pull Brizia to one side and tuck it in between the pad and the post, but he wasn't successful.
Very nonchalant as you see him going in here. He's on the forehand side. He didn't fake a shot. He tried to pull it out around the goaltender. Brizia goes out with the legs, hadn't overcommitted himself, and makes the save.
Brizia did the right thing there. He came out, cut down the angle, and then slowly went back into his net. And as the guy went to his left side, Brizia went with him and stuck that pad over. So we see the first penalty shot of the tournament. The player well on his own, attacking the net and brought down from behind. No doubt in the Finnish referee's mind, it's Kaila about that call. Shiryayev getting it back. Tюриков and Shiryayev out there. Headmanning the puck nicely. Short pass, that takes the deflection. And the Czechs are going to have to be careful. Shipishin. They're going to have to be careful with the long passes that come from the Soviet end. They really do like to thread the eye of the needle as Fedorov runs into problems along the boards. Tupal, who saw limited action against Canada out there in the early stages.
As you were saying earlier, the Czech defense is going to have to not be flat-footed and watching themselves in that neutral area, as away from the puck, the Russians are so good at keeping him forward, moving, and in flow, leading him and getting breakaways. Stepanchev
Getting it across, that one shot out, is brought down by Benak. Pavel Woll there, the Czechoslovakian coach, as always, tapping his players, talking to them. Kamensky overskated that. Kamesh taken out of the play nicely by Homutov. Homutov getting it back to the defense. Konstantinov to the far side. Return pass of Homutov too far. That goes all the way down, and Brizia will get there before Homutov, and he says thank you very much. I'll hold that for a face-off. So lots of action here in the early stages of this first period between Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. The Soviets need this one to maintain their unbeaten streak in this Izvestia tournament. A tournament which has been going since 1967. The Soviets looking for their 18th victory, the Czechs their 5th. The only other team to pick up a victory are the Canadians. Right in front, the pass coming from Levina. Moschak taken out of the play. Zemlichka chopped right out front, and that's in the net. The score is level. Levina was there to put that one upstairs and beat Artur Erb.
Well, the play developed in the corner. Zemlichka went behind the net. He was looking for Robert Krohn in front. The puck went by Robert Krohn, and there was Ladislav Lubina to come in on the rebound. There it is. It's off Krohn. He can't make a play of it. Lubina's in there for the goal up over Erb.
So, confirmation of the goal score coming from the Soviet announcer here in the Sports Palace Luzhniki, and it's level again. Fedorov giving it over to the right wing, going in on the backhand side. A good defensive move there by Brazda. Janszushka, who sees a lot of ice time for Czechoslovakia. Bodia taking his man out, back to the point, a long shot, stopped, and back come the Czechs with Svensson. Krohn now, Robert Krohn. Still Czechoslovakia. Janszushka takes the shot, and that's wide of the target. A devastating slap shot from inside the blue line, and back comes Fedorov. Right in front, and the shot was wide of the target. Fedorov picks up the loose pick. The Soviets really skating out there, and another shot. Richard Byakin fires that one in. I'm saying that the Soviets are skating so fast, they're going in, taking the shots, and then coming in and picking up their own rebounds.
Well, they are moving well, but I think that goal that the Czechs just scored has lifted their spirits and gotten a little bit of their nerves out as they're skating better now as well.
Maslenikov now loses that one, and the Czechs come up with it right in front of their own net. 1-1 the score here in the first period. Number 18, Josef Beranek, trying to get that one away. And you can see Kajsla signaling the first penalty of the game. Tripping is the call. That's a signal from him. Let's take a look at this. Here comes the trip. Kemp was brought down right in front of the official. Alexei Kravchuk will sit it out for 2 minutes, and there's Viktor Tikhonov surveying the situation. So a power play for the Czechs here in the first period. The pass to the top of the slot, the shot comes in, and that's handled easily by Artur Irbe, and so we'll have a face-off.
I don't think the Czechs are going to try and get too cute with their power plays today, as the Russians know how to defend them, and I think they're going to just move the puck around with the open man and just get the shot toward the goal.
Back to Tichy. Tichy flipping it over to number 16, Tupal. The shot, oh, wide. And Irbe was slow to react when that puck came off the backboards. Maslenikov fires it down, and Tichy pushes it forward. Tupal waits for it. Volchek. Volchek tries to get that. Now Tupal has it. Getting it across. 3-on-2 coming back. Tupal a bit too keen to get over the blue line, about a stride ahead of the puck carrier, and the offside whistle blows.
Well, as you can see, they're setting it up to take that point-blank shot from up in the high slot area with one of the defensemen. I don't know if Pavel is taking notes here, but I've noticed since the start of this game that Artur Irbe seems to be going down awful quickly, and he's on his knees a lot.
Well, I saw him play in November against this same Czechoslovakian side, and he stayed up for most of the game. So maybe he's been watching too much television, too much NHL hockey, but for the most part, he is an upright goaltender. 6:35 gone in the first period. 1-1 the score. Homutov scoring in the opening seconds for the Soviet Union. Lubina coming up with the equalizer just a couple of minutes later. Power play here for the Czechs. Stepanchev is taken out of the play. The Czechs making no impact yet on this as Dudacek gets that one forward. Stepanchev losing out. Nemchinov. Some good forechecking here by the Soviet Union as they completely contain the Czechs during this power play situation. Bozic, the captain. To the far side. Up on the wing, Bozic getting it up to Zemlichka. Malahov for the Soviets. Happy to flip that one down the ice. Pavlas, and you can hear the whistles coming from the Czechoslovakian supporters. They're not impressed with this power play situation as Homutov stole that one right off the stick of the Czech player. Pavlas now takes the shot. Irbe hung on to that one nicely. The Soviets back to full strength. Chakchuk to Bykov. Bykov. Oh, he's got all the time in the world. Zemlichka. Kamensky is in there. Fired all the way around, and that'll go down the ice. They wave off the icing call as it just trickles over that red line. Both teams changing on the fly, and back come the Soviets. Homutov picking that one up just on the blue line, but he was just a stride offside.
They want to play Homutov right on that blue line if possible. He is ever so dangerous. If he's out there with Kamensky, the two of them can really move that puck around.
Byakin, so often overshadowed during the days of Makarov. There's the check coming from number 9, Benak, on Stepanchev. As I was saying, Larionov, Makarov, and Krutov overshadowing the younger players, and now that they've gone, Byakin is starting to play some good hockey, and people are starting to take notice. Right in on goal. Kamensky was there. Again, the goaltender coming up with it. Valery Kamensky coming in, trying to split the defense. He does. They pull away from him, and the goaltender has a good opportunity to pounce on it.
Well, what happened there was Kamensky sprayed a little bit of snow on him as he stopped. The goaltender had a little whack at him, and there were a few words. Kamensky's one of the new style Russian players who is quick with a lot of moves, but not afraid to mix it up.
An easy shot for the defenseman to handle, came from the stick of Josef Berenek. Vilcek getting it up on the right wing to Tupau. Pushed all the way around, and the Soviets a lot of time to come out of their zone. Number 21, Kristiakov dropping it back. Fedorov over to the far side. A slap shot right on, and the pad save. That shot came from Kravchuk, and the Czechs coming back on the attack. Kristiakov intercepting that pass. And again, we have offside, as once again we see the Soviets just a bit too keen to get over that blue line.
Well, quite possibly Pavel Wolf did say to the players as they've been coming off the ice, let's stand them up on the blue line. And the Czechs do seem to be staying out further away from the goaltender and playing them at the blue line, which will create offsides calls.
The last thing a goaltender wants is a defenseman backing up into his face. He'd like to see the player approaching him played right at the blue line. Not always possible, of course. Flipped into the neutral zone. Shiryayev, as we approach the midway point in the first period. Shiryayev having problems. Back to the Czech defense. Bozic over to the far side. The Czechs right now reluctant to go forward. Dudicek getting that. It went up just a bit too far for Black. Shiryayev. The long pass intended for Tюриков. Well, not a lot of pattern to the play here. Shipyshin along with Kravchuk right in front of the net. Number 9 was allowed to walk right in. Kravchuk can take the backhand shot. Where was the Czechoslovakian defense on that occasion? Zemlichka flips that behind the net as they get set to change, and Bozic comes up on the left wing. Bozic now for Czechoslovakia. Pushing that one in. Going back forward. The Soviets, both teams changing. Nemchinov. Lubina back into the corner. Shiryayev all the way around. Pavlas now happy just to flip that back in to Panchev. Moshtak is shadowing. Moshtak now. Moshtak. Still, it's Czechoslovakia starting to put on a little pressure. That shot headed for the short side from Black was handled nicely by but Richard, it does appear that the Czechs are a bit reluctant to go forward. It's almost looks like they're a bit nervous to cross the blue line.
Well, they are being a bit hesitant, but I'm sure they just don't want to give that puck away. They're trying to control the play. They're spreading out. They're just trying to find the right formula for breaking out.
Bodia in the face-off circle for Czechoslovakia. K.Kaisla not happy with that face-off, so they'll do it again. Bodia and Bykov, Konstantinov. Some sharp passing in their own zone by the Soviets. Homutov trying to get that one across to number 22, Konstantinov, and it just didn't come off. Brija was there first. 1-1 the score here in the first period. We're coming to you live from the Sports Palace at Luzhniki in Moscow. The Izvestia Cup tournament. The Soviets hoping to maintain their unbeaten streak against Czechoslovakia. The Canadians right now are playing Finland, and we'll be showing you that game tomorrow. That should be a good one too. The Finns anxious to pick up their first victory of the tournament. Well, I should say their second victory of the tournament, actually. That one shot wide of the target. Brought in by Bykov. There's confirmation of the score. And the Soviets now coming down and taking that shot, which hits his skate. Bykov doing some good back checking, getting up to Byakin and Kamensky. Byakin now. Byakin so rugged, tries to push it through on that short side. Svensson picks it up with the glove and throws it down again and breaks up. Svensson to the far side, and number 16, Tupal, stopped on the blue line, but still the offside whistle went. So as I said, the Finns looking for their second victory of the tournament when they play Canada. Baranek out there, and you've been impressed with him, have you? Number 18 for Czechoslovakia.
Baranek's a very good forward to watch. He's kind of long and lanky, and he has a lot of moves. He just never stops going.
Fedorov gets that one back. And again, we have an offside call as that took a deflection, and the Soviet players were in over the blue line. Kamensky here going with Byakin, and the offside whistle blew. Fedorov going up against Baranek.
We're talking about the players that the Russians seem to lose, and you're talking about that big line that they've lost from last year's team. But when you watch players like Byakin and Kamensky out there together, they just seem to put little effort into it and keep moving.
Oh, great save there by the goaltender, and another one by Brija. They're taking shots right from the point. Czechoslovakia right now are flat-footed, and the Soviets are shooting from all angles. Working his way in is Alexei Kusarov. Kristiakov. And another shot right on the target, and again Brija comes up with the save. It's still loose, coming out front. Eventually pushed away, but not out as the Soviets keep it in. Byakin, another shot right on by number 29, Fedorov. And once again, Brija comes up with a key save. So Brija has recovered from that early goal by Homutov and has come up with several key saves in the past few seconds.
He was under a lot of pressure there, Paul, as he really came up big on a couple of shots. The rebounds were there. The Czechs didn't seem to be able to clear him very well. Two chances right there that were just missed. Brija seems to know where that puck is. He's back up on his feet in time to see a couple more shots coming his way.
Sergei Fedorov, always so dangerous around the net, wearing that number 29, getting the shot and going in for the rebound. Dudacek missing that one. Number 9, Kravchuk looking for it out front, but it wasn't to be as that one goes into the Soviet zone. Tюrikov wants it on the far side. Chepyshin to Shiryaев. He can't control it. Now the Czechs. Nobody wants to go and get him. Dudacek circling nicely. Right across. Oh, and that took a deflection. Kamesh shot. Goes over now to Petrovlak, and that took a deflection. The goaltender was down. The net was wide open. Kamesh tries to backhand that across the blue line, and eventually it came out, and the Czechs had to come out and clear the zone as Chepyshin goes in for it. So a good chance there for the Czechs to make it 2, but it wasn't to be. The shot, and again, Richard, that man in the slot left all alone.
Very sloppy pass there by the Czech defender. It was a complete giveaway. It almost cost him a goal.
Chepyshin backhanding it in that into the corner. Zemlichka. Zemlichka now for Czechoslovakia. Pushes that as far as number 4, Stельнов. Up on the boards. They really don't waste any time in their own zone. If there's no one around, they flip it into the neutral zone and take it from there. Zemlichka to the far side. An easy shot for Archer Irbe. He pushes that out to number 18, Stepanchev. Nemchinov all the way down the ice. Stepanchev being pressed against the woodwork by Pavlas. Stepanchev now comes up with a loose puck. Pavlas right in front, the backhand shot trickles wide as the Czechs are all over the ice. Czechoslovakia at times looking very, very unstable in their own zone. Malahov touching that for the icing call. Richard in their own zone. As I said, the Czechs looking a bit shaky at times.
Well, as the puck seems to come out of the corner, they seem very weak in that slot area and directly attacking the man that's coming out of the corner with the puck. The defenseman's doing a fine job covering the forward in front of the net, but it's the guy with the puck coming at him that they're going to have to watch out for.
Well, that replay there showing how clever the Soviets can be at catching the puck. Bykov taking that shot from close in, back to the live action, a long shot wide of Irbe, pushed away into the center ice zone, and back on the attack now, the Soviets with Homutov. Homutov with all the time in the world out there. Oh, and a bad defensive move there by number 19, Kron. The Soviets all around the Czechoslovakian net, and you can see how many Czechs are back. Coming right back to Konstantinov, takes a shot. And a lot of people cheered at that one as it hit the side mesh, but it definitely did not go in the net. Kamensky getting it back. The Czechs have not got a penalty, I can assure you that, but they look like they have got a penalty the way they're playing out there.
The way the Russians are skating in that zone, it definitely looked like the Czechs were just trying to kill a penalty off as they were standing around watching the Russians skate around them.
Fedorov to Shiryayev. Konstantinov. Konstantinov is dumped. This is a chance for the Czechs working the, and they just couldn't get the pass out. They had two men in front, one behind the net, and back comes Торгаев. Торгаев working his way in on the backhand side. He was right in on goal, but Brija went down and smothered it.
Good individual effort there as he was tied up pretty well, but managed to get a backhand shot off Торгаев.
Number 10 scooting around the defenseman, going in on the backhand side, but really Brija came out, cut down the angle, and there was no place to shoot there. And that was the defenseman. He went round. Ivan Vilcek will go in the box for 2 minutes. Holding was the call. Kravchuk getting it in the corner. Shiryayev pushing it back. Shiryayev again. The fake shot. Still some good stick handling out there by the Soviets. Shiryayev, and they really do push it around, Richard. Oh, that shot coming from the far side of the rink, grazing that far post as we come up to the 2-minute mark in the first period. Yaroslav Benak pushing that one down the ice. The Soviets now waiting till their players get into position. Shapishin wants it and picks it up. Tюриков out there. Shapishin stops. Not a great play by him. Should have at least carried that over the blue line.
Well, possibly, as we said earlier, that's what Pavel Woll has told his team. Take them on the blue line. Russians are known for not liking to dump the puck in. They like to skate the puck in, control it, and set it up. And if pressure is applied to them on the blue line, it makes that very difficult.
Kachuk out there for the Soviets on this power play. Time running out in the period. Right in front. Oh, and the shot from Maslenikov missed the net. Now he's had 2 golden opportunities, once on that penalty shot and then to put the puck in the net, and he hasn't done it. Tikhonov has a tendency to go with whatever line is out there. He doesn't have a particular power play. He likes to use all his lines in the power play situation. Malahov shooting around to Maslennikov. Shapishin, time running out, less than 60 seconds. Shapishin scoots that one through with a backhand shot by number 11, Igor Maslennikov, is grabbed by Brija. And if I don't swallow my tongue by the time this game is over, it's going to be a miracle. These names are just incredible.
Well, there you see a cute little pass right there from Shapishin. As that number 11, we've seen him a few times already, Maslennikov was wide open in front of the net, put the puck right in Briza's glove. I'm sure he's going to be banging his head off the wall in the dressing room. I've been there before, Paul, you know it. If you're not having a good game and you've had 3 or 4 opportunities like that in the first period, you tend to struggle a bit, and he's definitely struggling.
Well, he's had the chances, time ticking away here. Kostak and Yayuska mixing it up along the boards. The shot takes a deflection. Batted down, still kept in, and eventually the Czechs, Moschak, shoot it down the ice, and the Czechoslovakian side are back to full strength.
Well, the Czechs did a pretty good job of killing that penalty off. There were a couple of good opportunities, but overall the Czechs defended that very well.
Janshushka going back into the face-off circle. And the players getting set to go to the dressing room, Richard, for a well-deserved break. It hasn't been classic ice hockey, but it has been fast at times, and it's been close.
Oh, that's right, and the Russians have had a few good opportunities. They've missed a few golden opportunities, to say the least, and the Czechs are certainly not out of this. They're in a 1-1 game.
Stepanchev trying to get it back to number 4, Stельнов, but it didn't come off. It's still not out. The Czechs at this stage should not be stick handling out of their own zone. Byakin, Stepanchev, thrown. And there goes the buzzer to end the first period of this game between Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. It's been close. The Soviets struck first with Homutov, number 15, putting the puck in the net, and Lubina replied for Czechoslovakia. How's it going to go through the rest of the game, Richard?
Well, with both teams settling down and relaxing into this game, I think we're going to see some wide open, end-to-end, excellent ice hockey with a lot of passing, some good shots taken at both goals.
Well, as I said, the score is 1-1, the Soviets against Czechoslovakia. Join us in a moment. Welcome back to the Izvestia Cup, day 5, as the Czechoslovakian side steps onto the ice. 1-1 the score here. Homutov for the Soviets, Lubina for the Czechs. Still anyone's game. Still a lot of ice hockey to play. As we look across the ice, we see that specially made puck there right at the bottom of your screen, and we also see a bit of water on the surface of the ice in the background.
Well, that water will dry. I think that in between periods, Pavel Woll probably said to his team, look, 1 period's behind us. We're in a tie game, 1-1 here. The Czechs certainly do get psyched up to play the Russians like everybody else does, and that feeling of being in awe at the beginning of the game, I'm sure, is over by now. They're going to settle into a pretty solid performance here and try and beat this Russian team.
Some good goaltending from both sides. Petr Briz once again is doing a fine job between the pipes for Czechoslovakia. Dominik Hasek has dominated that position for so long for the Czechs, but Briz is making a name for himself. He's 25 years old, plays for Sparta in Prague. At the other end of the rink, as we look at some slow motion replays out there, this is the first goal. At the other end of the rink is Archer Irbe, and he is doing a great job for the Soviets, and they're happy with him. Brija, once again, as the Soviet television shows us this penalty shot with number 11, Igor Maslennikov. Brija coming up with a key save there. This is a replay of the Czechoslovakian goal. Lubina getting that deflection right in the slot and putting it upstairs beyond Archer Erb. So the team's out on the ice, looking forward to hopefully a fast and exciting second period.
Well, that's right. Both teams are relaxed. The confidence level is there. I think we're going to see good wide open ice hockey here and more goals to come for sure.
The Soviets, unbeaten in the tournament, are looking strong as ever. I said at the start, they're without several key players, many of them trying out or already with NHL clubs. But then again, a lot of Czechoslovakian players are over there. Musil, Pavonka, the Stasnys, the list is endless. The Czechs have been over there a lot longer than the Soviets, and now perhaps the Soviets, although they look strong, are feeling the pinch. They're feeling what it's like to have good players go to the NHL.
Well, they certainly are feeling the effects of that as they've lost a lot of key players. But it's just a test of their own junior programs, their own minor and youth hockey, and it all goes to development. I mean, old players go by the way, young players make changes. It's all goes down to the youth, and that's just going to be a little bit of a test for the Russians.
So the Czechs now playing from right to left in the dark jerseys, the familiar blue helmets. And at times they showed their stuff during that first period, enough so to score, but at times they looked a bit reluctant to cross over that blue line. Kamensky couldn't put a handle on that one. Eventually it's golfed out by the Czech defense all the way down the ice. Going back for it is number 22, Vladimir Konstantinov, one of the most experienced players on the Soviet side. The Czechs now, oh, a nice pass, Kamish coming in, scores! Vladimir Kamish, shot on the short side, and you can see the look on Archer Erb. He didn't know what hit him there in the opening seconds here, and the Czechs are celebrating.
Well, Erb does look bewildered. It was a nice pass across. Kamish is wide open. He holds the puck, waits, picks his corner. Erb maybe could have come out a little further on in there. The puck goes across to Kamish. He holds the puck, puts it in on the near side. Erb didn't cover that short side very well. It's behind him. Quickly, the Czechs are showing they are confident.
So a fine start for Czechoslovakia here in the second period. Bit of discussion out there with the official K.Kaislä from Finland, and perhaps they're discussing who got the assist. There is a tendency for the referee to go over after a goal, though that was fairly simple to work out, but to go over and say who touched it. He will often ask the players, won't he?
Well, sometimes, yes, they do get caught up in the play, and the ref is only human. The puck's moved around very quickly. If a goal happens quick, there's a lot of times he maybe will miss one or possibly both the assists.
Taken out heavily on the boards is Ladislav Lubina, but the Czechs come up with the puck. A rink-wide pass, and Kravchuk comes up with it. Malahov. Now, coming in on goal, and a nice little poke check there. Right in front of the net was Торгаев. Pavlas going after his man. Торгаев again in the corner, pushed through to Fedorov. Fedorov spinning, getting away from Pavlas. Fedorov working his way out front. Oh, and he almost said, that's in the net. Well, I said he almost got that, but number 21, Kristiakov, beat him to it. Kristiakov picking up that loose puck in the crease there, or just beyond the crease, and an easy one for him.
Well, Sergei Fedorov showing his strength here as he muscles the puck out of the corner, leans on that defenseman, pushes the puck to his forehand. The puck is laying there. Everybody doesn't seem to have quite an idea of where that puck is as Fedorov comes around the net here, tries for the forehand. The goalie's down, the defenseman's down. Kristiakov was there on that rebound.
So 2 quick goals here in the second period. Once again, levels the score. Shiryaев, and they let that one go. That was batted down by a high stick. Coming out right in front, and they score again! The Soviets have come up with 2 quick goals. Let's take a look at this again. They lead 3-2. Brija beaten cleanly there, really couldn't see it.
Once again, as we talked about in the first period, you see how quickly the Russians could strike. Also, the Czechs being a little bit sloppy in that slot area. As that player cruised into the slot area, had a lot of time as the pass came out, and Alexeyev Tchuk made no mistake on that as he put the puck behind Brise.
So Sepichin and 14, Shiryayev getting the assists on that goal. And Chakchuk picking up his first goal of the game. So we're seeing lots of action as this one comes wide open here in the second period. Tюrikov spinning, losing control. A lot of Czechs being caught back. Sepichin flipping that one out. And once again, the Soviets find themselves wide open in front of the net. Number 9, Torchuk, was taken out of the play there as he tipped that wide.
The Russians do seem in control here now as they're holding that puck, and they're getting a lot of good opportunities, especially in that slot area.
That pass picked up by number 18, Josef Beranek. Long shot hits his skate, and the Soviets losing it in the skates as they change up on the fly. Kristich trying to do it through 4 red jerseys. It just doesn't come off. Petrovlak to the far side. A long pass too far from anyone. Kusarov goes back for it. The touch icing the call. And the Soviets discuss that last goal and possibly moves for the future. Kristiakov, who picked up the second goal for the Soviets in the opening minutes here of the second period, talking things over on the bench. Back to the point, the shot from Stельнов, pushed in, and we're going to have another face-off here, just outside the Czechoslovakian zone.
The Czech forwards seem to be staying very deep in that zone. They're leaving the points open, the slot open. Pavel Wool's going to have to pull them together here and say, cover these men a little bit closer.
Yaroslav Benak. Benak going through on the backhand side. Benak being shadowed by Stельнов, taken out of the play. Kristich. Nemchinov is in there now. Czechs trying to push that one between the defenseman and the post. It just didn't come off, but they retained possession of the puck. Going through is Kamash. Oh, and that was so nice. Dudacek and Kamash combining there to level the score, and really this game is wide open.
Well, we predicted this would be a wide open game, and it's turning out that way at this point. Kamash and Dudacek play very well together. The two of them have been together throughout this tournament. It's a lovely pass from Kamash. He had a lot of time, he skated through. The Russians are guilty of standing around and watching the Czechs in their own defensive zone here. He slides the puck through, Dudacek on the backhand. Beats Irbe, who goes down.
So Kamash with a goal and assist, and an assist here in the second period as Viktor Tikhonov talks that one over with his players.
You just never see Tikhonov look flustered, though. He shows very little emotion, and I don't really think he's overly worried or concerned at this point.
Homutov with Bykov. The shot right on the target coming from Kamensky. A good slap shot, and Brija takes no chances on that one with a 3-on-2 break there, and Kamensky let fly that slap shot from close in.
Well, it shows you how quickly things can change. The Russians have had it all over the Czechs. It's been mostly in the Czech zone throughout this period thus far. Czechs go down the ice, set up a nice play. We've got a tie game once again.
The Czechs now coming back. Zemlichka right across the goal mouth. No one there to put some wood on it. And the Soviets happy to flip that one up as they come back. A one-on-one. Pavlas trying to get that one out. Oh, and a great save by the goaltender as that puck trickled over him. Homutov, number 15, got that weak shot away, but it almost went in the net.
Just shows you how dangerous Homutov really is as he turned that defenseman inside and out. Almost got the shot away even as he was tied up.
Kamensky in there with Bykov. Bykov to Kamensky. Right out front. Oh, and a weak shot that just missed the far post. And the Soviets really pouring it on here. Yanushka against Kamensky. Taken nicely by Lubina. Up on the boards, but not out. The Czechs now eventually get it over the blue line. The official, K.Kaisla, with his hand in the air, signals a penalty. Holding is the call.
Well, as the play came out over the blue line, Lubina was the man in charge, and he was grabbed a hold of it. And if you saw him, his feet went right out from under him, and he landed squarely on his backside, pulled down by Konstantinov. There you see Lubina breaking out, a little bit of a grab. Konstantinov got enough of a piece of him that sent him flying.
So the power play for Czechoslovakia, a wild and woolly second period here. 4 goals have been scored so far, 2 apiece. Fedorov, some nice stick handling by him. Oh, another great move. And Fedorov eventually loses control of that one as he kills off this penalty with Konstantinov in the penalty box.
Good opportunity here for the Czechs to try and grab that lead again as they've got the man advantage for 2 minutes.
Bodia looking for Camp in front of the net. Vlacek leaving it, and again it's the Czechs. They're changing on the fly. You can see that they're half over the boards waiting for that quick opportunity to change. That one goes into the spectator shot by Shiryaев, and so someone will have a souvenir and we'll have a face-off.
Well, the Czechs have got to get control of that puck and keep working it toward Artur Irbe.
There is a tendency when the Soviets have a man down that they go twice as hard, and they often score goals when they're shorthanded.
Well, the way that they move that puck around and the flow that they create by skating away from that puck, they're so dangerous. With men like Homutov out there, can beat you in a hurry.
Just past the 6-minute mark here in the second period. Czechoslovakia now trying to get that one into the slot area. Camp. That one came right across, but it took a slight deflection as Baranek couldn't get hold of it. Still kept in. The slap shot for the point is steered away into the far corner. Byakin now stick handling nicely. Byakin still brings it out. And the Soviets on the attack. Eventually number 11, Maslenikov, is squeezed out of the play. And the whistle goes. Still a power play situation for Czechoslovakia. The Czechs with number 9, Benak, Yaroslav Benak. One of the blue-eyed boys as far as Pavel Woll is concerned, the Czech coach. He's looking for big things from him in the future. Konstantinov steps back on the ice. The power play is finished. The Czechs didn't make much of that, and he's right in on the attack. Nemchinov flips it behind the net. Konstantinov now is still out there wrestling with Sepenchev. Nemchinov pushes it back in, and the Czechs under pressure. Bozek, the captain. Bozek seeing a lot of ice time in this tournament for Czechoslovakia. Stepanchev dumps that one all the way in. Nemchinov runs into Black. That one goes back to the point. Number 23, Malahov took a shot, and it was picked up by Kamesh, who pushed it down the ice. Malahov now comes back to help out. Cheka squeezes his man, number 28, Kristish, into the boards. Kristish turn to take Cheka into the woodwork, and they really are throwing their bodies around out there. Zemlichka Black. Pavlas, and it's on the top of the boards. That happens a lot in this rink. Puck just rests on top of the boards, and they do from time to time whistle them down, but that time Pavlas pouched it with his hand and threw it to the ice. Pavlas. Not a strong shot by him. And again, it's on top of the boards there. And so we'll have a face-off as we take a look at the smiling faces here in the Sports Palace Luzhniki in Moscow. Now they're smiling. They must have heard me.
Everybody seems pretty relaxed. I think they're enjoying this game. A few people taking notes, a few looking around. Looks like there's a few faces there, look like ex-hockey players possibly.
Homutov is brought down by Cheka. Homutov gets that one free. The Soviets are calling for a penalty on that play, but the official says no way. Czechoslovakia coming back on the attack with Lubina squeezed out of the play and then pushed hard into the plexi by Konstantinov. Back on the left wing, the Soviets dropping that one to Bykov. Bykov, an easy shot, wide of the target, more of a pass. Pushed in, but the Czechoslovakian side come up with it. Eventually Shiryaев steals the puck and pushes it back in. Kamensky getting it over to Bykov. Bykov, the shot wide. Shiryayev took that slap shot. Vodia came up with the puck. Back to Vodia. Vodia 3-on-3 as the Czechs work their way in. That bounce off the side of the net, and Bykov leaves that one behind the net for Shiryayev. Oh, a good pass there, but it just didn't come off, and back comes Czechoslovakia, stopped at the blue line. Both teams spreading their players across the blue line. Breaking in on that, oh, and a good shot there by number 21, Kristikov. Lovely pass by Bykov from the far side. Kristikov again works his way in, right on the target. Homutov took it from a sharp angle, and they really are leveling down and taking these shots. The official's arm is up, and we're going to have a penalty on the play as they start to mix it up with Bykov and Brija in the corner, pushing and shoving and getting those punches in. Byakin goes in.
Bykov went after the goaltender Brisa as he came out of the net to cover that puck. There you see the play again. Bykov directing the puck toward the net, right in front of the net. Januska takes his man down. That's a delayed penalty call coming up on Januska, and Brisa goes over to cover the puck. Bykov goes in on him. Brisa not too impressed with that. Hits his helmet. Bykov sort of slides into him, lets his weight go on him. A little pushing and shoving, nothing real serious. Brasda coming in to try and protect his goalie, but sort of harmless. Not a lot of action there. That was very dangerous. But the delayed penalty call on Januska was for real. He's going to sit it out for 2 minutes. The Russians will have a power play here.
So there's number 12 in the box for Czechoslovakia. And a power play for the Soviets here in the second period. 3-3 the score. Back to the point. Number 6 taking the shot. Ilya Byakin, pushed out by Josef Beranek. Byakin going back for it. Fedorov is out there for the Soviets. Torgayev. Byakin. And again we see Brija way out of his net. I think he enjoyed that little confrontation there in the corner. Goalies from time to time feel left out of the play, and they like to get a few pushes and shoves in there. After all, they are padded from head to foot more than anybody else in the game, so why not have a go?
Well, there's always that misconception that protect your goalie. You know, they're like the little harmless, innocent guy that's in the back. Generally, the goalies tend to be the most aggressive players on your team. They're the ones that enjoy the action and hitting and whacking people more than anybody else.
Well, as you say so often, you have to be a bit crazy to want to play that position anyway. Byakin dropping that one back. Not a good play from him, and back come the Czechs. They're a man down, squeezed out of the play by Kravchuk. And the Soviets head manning the puck. Cheka going after his man. Bozic is out there. flipped all the way around, and eventually Byakin can't hold it. They're changing on the fly. Not much of a power play so far for the Soviets, but at any time they can strike. Sufficient squeezed out of the play by Vlach. Maslenikov takes his man out. Over to the far side, Malahov. Maslenikov right out front. The shot taken by Shapishin. Number 23, Malahov, not making the most of that. The Czechs back at full strength. Januszka gets right into the thick of the action and gets that pass up. The Czechs happy to flip that one in and change on the fly, as they did a great job there killing off that penalty. Again, it gets physical behind the net with Kravchuk pressing the Czechoslovakian attacker against the woodwork, and they call for the face-off. Januszka, who came out of that penalty box, was right into the thick of it there, but he was held for a face-off.
Well, the Czechs were happy to have killed that penalty off, but the Russians really didn't mount much of an attack there, as they were a bit sloppy, and it's very uncommon for you to see the Russians taking bad-angled shots, and we saw a couple of them there.
From the face-off, Soviets was Shiryaев. Shiryaев getting it up too far for anyone. That's going to go all the way down the ice. Czechs touch it, and we have an icing call.
Well, it's always right at the time that you want to say the Russians are cruising, or they seem to have stopped skating, that you end up eating your words, because at any minute, like you said earlier, Paul, they could just snap, apply all kinds of pressure, and start putting that puck back in the net again.
Viktor Tikhonov, that look of concentration on his face, very rarely smiles, but he has reason to smile. He's got to be one of the most successful coaches in the history of the game. Shiryaев getting it up on the wing. Oh, a good check there, but the Soviets come up with the puck. Some good defensive work by Lubina. Cheka fires that all the way around and gets past the defenseman on the far side, and that trickles all the way down the ice. Zemlichka losing control of it. Shiryaев going in. Krishtish brought down. Pavlas getting over to the far side. A weak shot. Held onto there, and we're going to have a face-off. That was an easy one for Irbe. Not a difficult shot from the point. I think if they have those opportunities, they got to make more of that, eh?
Well, he had time. He actually could have probably taken a slap shot from that point, but elected to take the wrist shot and just direct it to the net. You never know, with bodies being turned around and sticks flying, anything can happen. Maybe he looked at it that way. The Russians had clearly taken their men out in front of the net, though. There really wasn't much of a chance of a rebound had Irbe not even handled the shot.
This time it was a slap shot, and Irbe deflects that high into the crowd. And an early Christmas present for someone here at the Sports Palace Luzhniki in Moscow. They're enjoying this one. 3-3 the score in the second period. 1-1 at the end of the first period, and then 4 fast goals at the beginning of the second period. Got this period well and truly underway. Konstantinov pressing against the woodwork there with Krohn. Still hasn't let go of him. Tюриков to the far side. Too far. And Brija will keep that away from Kamensky. And just Svensson. That was a dangerous move by Brija. Homutov. Vodia shadows. Homutov getting it up to Kamensky. Kamensky to Bykov, a lovely little turn right in to Kamensky, and Homutov knocking on the door, but Brija got to it first.
With that line of Homutov, Kamensky, and Bykov, you just have to play the body all the time. They're just so clever. That line is so smooth the way they come down the ice. The pass is just thrown out of nowhere. It looks like it's going to nobody, and there they are. One of them is always there on the puck.
Fedorov going against Baranek. Baranek coming up with that draw. Yashushka Vilcek taking his man out of the play, but the Soviets seem to come up with that puck. Vilcek again, number 21 out there. Kristikov holds that against the boards, and we'll have another face-off.
Point to note, Paul, is with you were talking earlier about all the NHL players and the Russians having gone to the NHL with the loss of Larionov, Makarov, Krutov, that deadly line that the Russians have. It actually is going to strengthen this Russian team, as the line we just talked about with Krutov out there. That's definitely giving them more ice time, and when the national team gets back together, with Larionov and the other two joining their national team, it's just going to make them that much stronger.
That's so right. The big question is, will the NHL teams release these players to play for the national side? That'll be an interesting situation when it arises. Kemp falls down, eventually gets the pass away, and back comes Czechoslovakia. 3 Soviets back against, well, a lot more Czechs joining the game now. Ivan Vlecek pushes that one around, and the pace is slowed down considerably after that furious second period start. Fedorov taken out right at the blue line as they chop at that one, and both teams changing on the fly. It's touched, and we'll have an icing call here in the second period.
Well, as you see both teams changing here, play in the neutral ice area is really starting to spread out as well now, as for a while that was very close checking, and the teams were really stacking that blue line up, but now they seem to be really spreading out, and both teams are flowing with that puck right from their own zone all the way down.
Kaiser, the Finnish official, hasn't had a lot to do. He's let the game flow. Coming up on the play now, Dudacek tries to cross it over to Kamesh. It didn't come off, and the Soviets coming back on the attack. Kravchuk taken out of the play, getting it over to Maslenikov. A long shot by number 9, Alexei Kravchuk. Pressed against the woodwork there, and they really are slowing this pace down. Sipichin centered that one. Number 23 takes a shot. Malahov way wide of the target. Benak now. Benak loops that one into center to relieve the pressure all the way down the ice. Tюриков touches it, and once again we have an icing call. And for those of you perhaps watching for the first time, when a team is at full strength, they cannot shoot the puck from their side of the red line all the way down the ice. The result of that is that the puck is whistled down and the face-off is in your end.
Well, you don't like that face-off to be in your end, but if you're in trouble, an icing call and a face-off is a lot better than letting the pressure stay on you and giving up the puck.
Priz calls for another face-off. Nemchinov losing out there. The Czechs again trying to get it out as they flip it into the Soviet bench. Thrown back onto the ice. A round of applause there.
Tikhonov, the coach, definitely showing his concentration there as he very casually one-handed that puck and threw it back onto the ice all in one motion. Good play, Victor.
This time the Czechs get it out. Zemlichka in the corner against number 4, Stельнов. And you can see what happens here. The Soviets take the man. Someone comes along like Nemchinov and helps out. The officials saying, come on, kick it free, kick it free. Stельнов's got his stick on it, and Zemlichka is all over him. They're trying to get it up to Shiryaев. It's getting really sloppy, really tight along the boards. No one wants to give anything away here. It's a 3-3 ice hockey game, and we're in the second period. Still lots of ice hockey to come, but a goal now, once again, could break it wide open.
Oh, it's very true. Both teams are being a little bit cautious at this point. If you notice, away from the play, there's a lot of holding, a little hooking. Neither team wants to let the other team get a stride or gain a step on them. And the man with the puck obviously has a man covering him, but the play is slowing down due to the fact that there's a lot of coverage away from the puck at the moment.
They're staying right on each other out there. Bodia in the face-off circle. The Soviets now. Byakin head manning the puck. The official, well, he saw that as a tripping call. Richard, you're shaking your head. You don't agree?
Well, I'm not so sure if I agree or disagree with it, but the way Brazda's looking at the official, I'm sure he doesn't agree with it. It's one of those plays, I guess seeing that replay, I'd have to agree with it, as Brazda really did take the skates out from under him. To me, it looked like the puck was on its way to that forward. He was taken out, but yes, on the replay, I'll stop shaking my head. Brazda deserves 2 minutes for tripping.
So Brazda in the box for Czechoslovakia. Power play situation for the Soviets here late in the second period. Konstantinov gets it back again. Byakin slowing the pace down, waiting for that quick break. Bykov, Homutov now. Homutov dropping it back. Konstantinov. Konstantinov winds up, takes a shot. No rebound from Brija. He was perfectly positioned, way out of his net, to the top of his crease, and he grabbed hold of this slap shot.
That's right, that's what a goalie wants, as you see the replay here. The puck is back to Konstantinov at the point. The players are covered in front of that by the defenseman, but the goalie has a clear sight of it. Goalies will never complain about plays like that. They'll take that long shot any day. That's what they want, but they want clear sight of it. Just clear the forwards in front of the net.
Homutov was there waiting for the rebound that didn't come. Bykov looking to win this one. He doesn't. Benak comes up with it. Benak pushes that along the boards, and eventually it drifts out down to the Soviet zone. Byakin up on the left wing, past Bozek. Kamensky's in there, but Benak will get to it first. Now Kamensky keeps skating. Such an aggressive player. Homutov. He's got Bykov in front of the net, Byakin over here, and Konstantinov back at the point. Quite a star-studded lineup for the Soviets as they put on the power play. Konstantinov right on the blue line. It didn't go out. The slap shot comes right in, and that took a deflection as we approach the final 60 seconds in this second period. High into the spectators, and another Christmas present.
Well, they moved that puck around, and Kamensky certainly had that one teed up, as he was way back on that slap shot. Unfortunately for him, it did hit a leg in front of the net, or stick, and was way up into the crowd.
The rugged face there of Konstantinov, Vladimir Konstantinov. He's seen a lot of action, played a lot of hockey for the Soviets. Still a power play situation. There's the score, 3 goals apiece here in the second period. Just under a minute. Pushed out by the Czechs as they do everything they can to kill off this penalty. Sufficient into the center ice zone to number 11, Maslenikov. He flips it in, but the Soviets don't get there first, and the Czechs come up with it, bouncing it by Malahov. Oh, some sloppy play there. Rescued nicely by Sufficient. He took that shot wide to the far side of the net, but it really did break down there for a moment. Sufficient again. Sufficient as the Czechs come back to full strength. Pavlas trying to contain that along the boards. The Soviets with number 11, Maslenikov, trying to work it out front, but he runs out of time and gets a little shove there along the boards. So the score here at the end of the second period, 3 goals apiece. Tristiakov and Kravchuk starting for the Russians there, picking up the goals. Kamesh and Dudacek for Czechoslovakia. A fine start, but a slow finish.
Oh, that's right, and all importantly, the Czechs have just killed that penalty off late in the period. They've got 15 minutes to regroup here and keep their discipline and try and carry it through into the third period. The Russians certainly are going to regroup. They're going to chat this over, and both teams are going to come out hard.
Lots more ice hockey action to come. Join us in a moment. Welcome back to day 5 of the Izvestia Cup here as we look at the commentators in the Sports Palace Luzhniki as they watch this game between Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. And there's a specially designed puck for the Izvestia Cup. And would it be safe to say that a puck in the hand is worth 2 in the net?
Well, it's certainly better off in someone's hand than it is in somebody's face or up in the crowd in somebody's face. I'm sure they'd rather have it in their hand as well.
So we're about to start the third period here. 3 goals apiece. It's wide open. It's anyone's game as we continue to look at this very clever shot indeed of a specially designed puck in a glove.
Yes, but if you are watching ice hockey, you realize that to be totally real here, they don't want the puck in the deflector glove. It'd be nice if it was in the catching glove.
That's right. So the team's getting set to come out on the ice. The Soviets started the scoring with Homutov, number 15, drawing first blood in the first period. Lubina retaliated. Then Kamish came back for Czechoslovakia in the second period, make it 2-1, and Kristiakov, Kravchuk, and then Dudacek for the Czechs. And it's a 3-3 ball game right now. The goaltender's playing well, but at the end of that period, we saw things slow down considerably. Possibly they're a bit tired. They have been playing a lot of games here during this tournament, and it has been fast during you know, the initial stages of that first period.
Well, when you have play going wide open and end-to-end action, you do tend to see people wheeling around everywhere. But as play gets close, the checking gets close, then you notice that it looks as though the play is slowing down, but basically both teams are just looking to be cautious.
That's the first goal scored in the second period. Kamish had about an inch to put that puck through, and he did just that. Kristiakov, Fedorov gets it out front, tries to whistle that one around, and number 21 is there to level the score once again. Soviets coming back as they drop that one and get it past Brija. That's Kravchuk making it 3-2. And then Czechoslovakia with Dudacek doing the damage here. Eventually the pass from Kamish got through to him. Number 22 here slips it between the skates. The goaltender's down, and number 23 puts that one in the back of the net. 3-3 the score here in the third period. 20 minutes to play. This is live from the Sports Palace Luzhniki. Anything can happen. So important for the Soviets to continue their unbeaten streak. Down the road, the Canadians are playing against the Finns. That's the game we'll see tomorrow, so we're not going to reveal that score. The Canadians looking to continue their unbeaten streak, although they have drawn one game. The Finns have only won one game. That was 9-2 over West Germany, so they're looking to improve their record here in the Izvestia Cup.
It's always a good clash when those two teams meet, and as we said earlier, this is anybody's game, but you know as well as I do, the next goal is a big one. Both teams are going to be looking for that right away.
The Czechs playing from left to right. Bozek, the captain, in possession of the puck. Benak to Black. Looking for number 23 there, Dudacek, who was spun heavily out of the play. He lost his stick, and then Konstantinov kicked it into the corner. Byakin scooting through, trying to split the defense. Benak jumps on his back, puts the headlock on, and we're going to have a face-off as tempers start to flare here in the early stages of this third period.
Well, good individual effort by Byakin, but he wasn't able to split the defense. As you see him approaching the blue line, good move to the inside, taken out nicely by both defensemen there.
teams not getting set for the face-off. They have to be outside that circle. So they decide to blow it down. Now Czechoslovakia getting that over to number 29, Muschak. Muschak and Kravchuk mix it up. Kristich in there to help out. Fedorov head manning the puck, just a bit too difficult to hang on to, and the Soviets go back with number 23, Malahov. Physical stuff along the boards as they seem to forget about the puck at times as Fedorov went down there. A lot of body play. Oh, and that was a bad pass right out front. And we're going to have a penalty on the play. Kaiser had no doubt in his mind. The thumb goes up over the shoulder. Hey, follow me. Hooking the call. And the Soviets are arguing this one.
Well, the play started with a bad pass from Pavlos as he nearly made a real costly error there. Gave the puck away right in front of his own net. But as a Soviet player, didn't score the goal on that play. He reached out and hooked the first man that was near him and picked up a sort of a stupid penalty at this point in the offensive zone.
Number 25, Andrei Lomakin, is in the box for hooking, so the Czechoslovakian side with a power play out there. This could be just what they need here to get the wheels turning once again. Vodia to the far side. Back to the point, Yanishushka takes a shot. Some good defensive work there by Shiryayev, and he's hurt. Valery Shiryayev got his pads in front of that, and he got up slowly, and he's gone to the bench. He really did feel that one. That was a good slap shot. Krohn. Robert Krohn over the red line, working his way over the blue line, pushes that, but it doesn't go into the corner. Instead, it's deflected out, and the Czechs will have to do it all again. And Shushka, Tupal, and Shushka again. Sometimes guilty of being a bit lax on the power play, not being aggressive enough. It'll be interesting to see what the Czechs do here in the third period. Vocek being shadowed nicely by Ilya Byakin. Coming in is Nemchinov to steal that puck away. Sepentsev. And the Czechs right now are being caught flat-footed. Tichy wrestles with Sepentsev along the boards. And you've got 4 Czechs over there, and they still can't come up with a puck. Some good stuff by the Soviets to kill off this penalty. As back comes Czechoslovakia now. It's a 3-on-3 break, working their way in. Beranek losing it just inside the slot area. And the Soviets push that one down the ice. Sepentsev kicking it along the boards. Tichy takes him out of the play. And the Soviets are back at full strength. So not a good power play from Czechoslovakia. The score remains the same. Kamesh, wide shot of the target. Konstantinov, pair of 22s there, squaring up behind the net. And the Soviets now back at full strength, are back into the thick of the action. Bozek hammered into the boards. And the Czechs with Benak trying to freeze that up. Pass by Homutov. A shot takes a bounce off a stick and a skate. Homutov, Kamensky now. Kamensky being tied up, all right in front of the net. And the Soviet attacker there, number 27, Vyacheslav Bykov, banned on the shot. Konstantinov runs into Bozek. Bykov pushing that one all the way through to Homutov. Pavla gets to it first. A long pass, and Konstantinov comes in nicely to cut that one out. Homutov. Kristiakov squeezed out of the play along the boards. right in front now, and the Soviets, number 15, Homutov, is taken out of the play at the last minute, and the Czechs come back on the attack. It's a breakaway, working his way on goals, number 25, Lubina, and a great save by Irbe. And at the other side, number 25, Lomakin picks up the puck, and it's passed over, and that shot by Fedorov, number 29, grazes the far post, and it's end-to-end ice hockey. Lomakin loses control, and the Soviets pick it up in their own zone. Fedorov to the far side, and this is starting to pick up. It's becoming wide open. Bodia pushing that one across. The Czechs push it back in. Number 26, Zemlichka in the corner. Zemlichka works his way out, takes a shot from point-blank range, and he hit the goaltender right on the stick. He really had nowhere else to put it. With almost 6 minutes gone, we have an offside call, rather, and really the action just went crazy there for about a minute and a half.
Oh, there were a couple of plays that came right across that neutral zone and led to great chances for the Czechs there. As there's a brilliant pass by Dudacek to Lubina, and he just walked in on that breakaway and couldn't put it away as Irbe came up with a pad save.
Well, they're announcing the final score by Finland and Canada, so I'm going to talk over that so no one can hear it, because I'm sure you'll want to watch that tomorrow. Out on the ice, Yuri Shepyshin taking the face-off for the Soviet Union. Kron eventually gets a stick on it. Kron and Shepyshin wrestle for it. Number 6, Brazda, bounces that one off the boards. We have a feeling that's going to be a good game tomorrow, so join us here on Eurosport. It's a rest day here in the tournament, so we're going to bring you Canada against Finland. Tikhonov, expressionless as always, and side by side, isn't that a nice sight? Czechoslovakia and the Soviets wave their banners, dance to the music. It's a real festival atmosphere here with that organist going between face-offs. Kron gets a long pass up, too far for Svensson. Fired all the way back in, right on the target, and Brija makes the save.
Well, the Czechs certainly aren't playing cautious defensive hockey here, as they're throwing a lot of action out. They're looking for that long pass and trying to create an opportunity for themselves here.
Menchushka, oh, cheeky little move. Shadowed by number 9, Alexei Kravchuk. Official with the little John Wayne yo move points towards the penalty box.
Well, quite possibly the Soviet forward didn't like the cheeky little move that Januszka put on it the first time. As he came around the net the second time, passed the puck up and he took a high stick. That's why he's down on the ice. There you see Januszka here. He's made one move, he's made two. There you see the high stick coming right up into the face of Januszka.
The glove off, the hand over the face. So, Kravchuk, number 9, goes into the penalty box. Power play for Czechoslovakia. Chance for Pavel Woll to get the Czechs moving, possibly push them into the lead.
This is a big opportunity right here. They want to take full advantage of it.
Tupou out there with number 18, Beranek. Beranek, prolific goal scorer for Czechoslovakia. But can he do the job he's sent out there to do right now? The whistle blows on that one, and we'll have a face-off. Stельнов goes back with Artur Irbe to talk things over. It's nice every once in a while, if you're a goaltender, to talk to players, because they do instill confidence in you by saying, hey, you're playing a great game, or watch out for this, watch out for that. It's a kind of communication that should continue throughout the game. The goaltender is really a traffic warden or a traffic controller out there. He yells and tells the defenseman and the people around his net where the forwards are, where the attackers or defenders are coming from. Tupou fires it to the right, far side. Camp bounces off the side of the net. Tupou back to the point. Oh, and the Czechs so casual in their approach right now. Brazda. Tupal down the right wing. Tupal running out of places to go. Leaves it for Camp. Camp takes the shot off the glove of Erb. Pushed back around right in front now. The goaltender's down. It's in the net. Archer Erb made the first move, and the player made a great move on it. Tupal is getting the hugs from the Czechoslovakian team. A brilliant move there. The Soviet Union goaltender Archer Erb went down, made the first move. Let's look at this again.
Well, as this play broke down on the far corner in the Soviet zone, very casually the Soviet defender threw that puck around the net. There was nobody there except Tupal. As he moves the puck to the front of the net, Erb misses with the poke check. Tupal pulls the puck back and throws it up into the top corner. Beautiful goal.
So we're approaching the 8-minute mark here in the third and final period. Konstantinov. 4-3 the score. The Czechs have gone into the lead. And that will turn a few heads here in the Sports Palace Luzhniki in Moscow. Homutov getting that one right out front, and Brija came up with a little poke check to push that away. The Soviets unbeaten in this tournament. Now, again, Erb comes up with a key save on that shot from the left wing position.
Oh, the Czechs have really opened this up as they're throwing those long passes around, and they're looking for that open man.
Kamensky allowed to walk right in there. His shot was high. Bykov has it now. And Homutov was waiting in front of the net, and nothing came of it. A long, high pass. Shiryayev. Shiryayev is brought down right at the blue line. Bykov pushes that one back. Erb and Konstantinov hits Zemlichka into the boards. Play continues. The Soviet fans whistling, jeering out there, expecting a penalty, but it just didn't come. K.Kaiser, as I said, the Finnish official letting things flow out there, letting the game continue.
Well, the crowd was looking for a penalty there, and it nearly was, as the player did appear to really get spun around.
Now we're going to have a penalty. Slashing is the call. K.Kaiser a bit angry at that one. There's the indication from the official. Kamensky comes off the bench and has a few words with the official.
That all happened because Kamensky was the man that was taken out on the original play. The crowd yelled for a penalty. It didn't come off. Kamensky got up. He was frustrated. He was more or less going toward the bench for a change after the play broke down. I have a feeling that he whacked the first man going by as it was way off the play. And it was a really stupid penalty for a player of Kamensky's caliber to take.
Remember, we talked about this the other day. The referee will maybe miss the original infraction out there, or the initial infraction, but he very, very seldom misses the retaliation.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Janshushka. So, a power play for Czechoslovakia. A chance to extend their lead. Working around as the Soviets set up the box right in front. A loose puck, and that bobbles into the corner. Thrown out there. Vodia kept just inside, eventually backhanded in to Byakin. Byakin shouted by Kron. Byakin falls, the Soviets still in control with Kravchuk. Kravchuk seeing a lot of ice out there for the Soviets. Brazda slowing things down. Tupal. The last time he was out, he scored the power play goal. Pavel Woll hoping that he'll do it again as Fedorov breaks up the right wing. Fedorov trying to get Byakin, intercepted nicely, and back comes Czechoslovakia. That puck is left, right in front. Oh, and again they score! Another power play goal. Tupal doing it once again, stretches the Czechoslovakian lead to 2 now. The score 5-3.
The play started with Tichy knocking that puck down at the blue line, throws the puck forward. One Russian defenseman back, two of them in there. Baranek makes a lovely pass to Tupal, who has a hard time handling it, but he really doesn't have to handle it. He just gets enough stick on it to put it up over Artur Irbe, who is down.
Well, they're saying right now that this goal is kicked in. It didn't go in off a stick. It went off a skate. And they're saying it was kicked in. We've got to sort this out here. The face-off is being brought out. So they're not allowing that goal. So it's now 4-3. That goal, that second power play goal by Tupal will not stand. The Czechs back on the attack again. Right out front, number 23, Svensson. So a big blow for Czechoslovakia as Tupal came up with that goal, but they're saying it went in off a skate. The face-off coming outside the blue line. Still a power play. And the Soviets now back at full strength. Going back forward is Malahov. So 4-3, confirmation of the score. The Soviets getting let off on that one. Kamensky hitting his man and then being taken out. That shot just being pushed wide there. Kamensky trying to get that pass and it didn't come to him. Left in by Homutov. Homutov tried to get it to the far side, and the Czechs being tied up in the neutral zone. Kamensky dropping it back. Sufficient on the backhand side. A good move by Pavlas to keep that one out of the play. Sufficient getting up slowly. And Kamensky, a weak backhand shot on Brija, and he's happy to call for a face-off.
Great action, and great pressure from that Czechoslovakian forward line up there as they put a lot of pressure on Artur Irbe back there. Just came up short on that power play opportunity. They've got the lead. They've got a lot of confidence going. They're pushing the action toward the Russian goal. It's exactly what Pavel Woll wants.
The Czechs now stealing that face-off. Odia to Krohn. Krohn being steered out of the play by Konstantinov. So rugged in those corners. Vodia now comes up with it. Krohn getting it back to Vodia. Some good 1-2 play out there as Bykov comes back to help out. Krohn pushes his man into the boards. Kamensky comes way back into the corner. And eventually the Soviets come up with it. Kamensky, a slap shot. It takes a deflection. And that goes high into the crowd, and we'll have another face-off.
That's a couple of times Kamensky's come down that right wing, tried to get the big slap shot off. It's been deflected up into the crowd. Try and teach the young kids to use that wrist shot or the snap shot. Maybe Kamensky's just taking a little bit too long. The Czech defenders have gotten a piece of his shot 2 or 3 times now.
The Soviet linesman picking up something that had been thrown on the ice. Looking at this slap shot by Kamensky, the one that took a deflection into the crowds. We're back now to the live action. 4-3 the score. The third and final period. Time ticking away for both teams. And the Soviets now working their way out. Kristiakov losing out at the blue line. The Czechs double teaming these Soviet attackers. Kristiakov now. Kristiakov getting around Camp. Tries it to Fedorov. Fedorov going in on the backhand side. Fedorov back to the point. The shot wide of the target. Well, Tikhonov will not be happy with this display here. They're missing the net. Fedorov is in front, tries to turn around, tries to get a handle on it, but you can see he's tired there. 2 guys were on him, and they're changing on the fly. Baranek without his helmet. And really, they looked like they had too many men on the ice at that time. They had half the Czech bench out there. The Czechs now getting it back to the defense.
play is really tight right now around that net, as the Czechs did well covering it. You see a Russian player going off without a helmet. There's 2 or 3 helmets laying out on the ice. They're really covering each other close now.
Up to Black. Black waiting for his teammates to get with him. Over to the far side. Both teams changing on the fly here. Tюриков as a couple of Czechs collide at center ice there. Širyaев, the defenseman, punches that one into Brija. Benak taken out in the corner. Bozic giving his man a shove. Nothing serious there. Kravchuk took a bit of a spill, but we'll have another face-off in the Czechoslovakian zone.
Well, there's a little more promotional advertising and marketing going on here. It looks like we're selling some perfume or something at the time. Some men here displaying their products. Guy getting maybe the golden handshake here. He's got his watch.
Well, back to the action. Bykov. Kamensky trying to get that one out front. He loses out in Czechoslovakia now. Throwing that one down the ice to Konstantinov. Bykov. Bykov spun out of the plate. And Homutov gulps that one around behind Brija. Well, the Czechs laying back a little here. Lubina behind his own net. Pavlas is there too. Bykov still trying to kick that one free. He's lost his stick. Number 25, Lubina, is brought to the ice. Homutov. Still Homutov. Oh, a pass to the far side and the backhand shot. Byakin wasn't on the target. Now Bykov. Bykov stops. Turns around and that one misses the far side. Byakin was right there. And they try to punch that one in, but it goes all the way down the ice. So close for the Soviets, but it's not going over that red line. Homutov, his drop pass is picked up by Robert Krohn. Krohn getting around, he's breaking in on goal. Krohn takes a shot, and that one's steered wide behind the net. And we're going to have another face-off here. Very close for the Soviets, all around that Czechoslovakian net.
Oh, Robert Krohn with a lovely move on Konstantinov there as he put the puck through his skates and he was in. By the time he got control, it was late though.
At the other end of the rink, there's the one that Byakin, Ilya Byakin, number 6, just missed. The return pass went through number 13, and that's Kamensky, and number 15, Homutov, to go down the ice. (4-3) the score. Russia against Czechoslovakia here in the third and final period. Fedorov waiting for the Czechs to come into the face-off circle as Captain Bozic goes over and discusses things with the official. And Chushka is over there too. Bozek, who's played a good series, sees a lot of ice time, doesn't like to shave before the game, likes to look rugged, likes to look the part as well as play it. The Soviets pass over to the far side, a bit too far for Lomak and Irbe. Stельнов. Vodia is on him. Stельнов dropping it back. Gusarov. Kristiakov. Kristiakov dropping it back. The pass right across. The slap shot is kicked away nicely by Brij and Fedorov. Kravchuk got a good piece of that one. Fedorov is hammered into the boards. Stельнов pushing it back in the corner. A weak shot goes off a body, and number 24, Threnson, eventually gets it out into the neutral zone. Well, the Soviets stringing together some good passes, but the Czechs Almost don't want it out there. Beranek. Beranek again being shadowed by Kristiakov. Takes a chop from him. Camp, number 11, loses out. That was Aslenikov. Camp coming up with some good back checking. Eventually hits loss, and now Czechoslovakia back on the attack. Tupal now. Tupal going down on the right wing. Takes that over the blue line. And we have an offside whistle and a bit of a musical interlude. There's the score here in the third period, 4-3 for Czechoslovakia over the Soviet Union. Aslenikov getting far too over on the edges. His feet went right away from him. Wasn't touched at all, was he?
No, he wasn't touched. He lost an edge there, but as he lost that puck, had he not swept it to the side like he did, he might have given up a breakaway there.
Always so important that you remind youngsters when you're the last guy there, you don't carry it out. You're so vulnerable. A poke check, a hip check, whatever, to bring you down or stop the puck in its tracks means that you're the last one there. Vocek got his body in the way of the Soviet forward. And that leaves, of course, the goal wide open if you try to bring it out when you're the last man there. Again, the Soviets falling. Shipishkin coming up to the 2-minute mark. The Czechs are in the lead, and this could be a surprise upset. Tюrikov having problems in his own zone. Watch for the Soviets. They may take the goaltender off in an effort to put on an extra attacker. Shiryaев shoots a lazy shot into the Czech zone. Bozek pushes that one around in the corner. Still far from over. Kept in Benak. Golfs that one, and eventually Czechoslovakia get it. A terrible clearance right on the target. Bozek, not a good clearance from him. Byakov. Benak. Still, they can't get it out. Homutov didn't even see that one. Bykov. Shiryayev tries to keep it in, and he does. Kamensky waiting for that out front. The Czechs to the far side, and now it goes out into the neutral zone. Shiryayev backhands that in. Bykov has got it. He's breaking it on goal. But number 20, Black, is there to push it away. Right across to Konstantinov, and that took a deflection. Konstantinov behind the net. Right in front, the shot is right on the target, and Brija, who is covered there by Lubina, makes the save, and the whistle blows.
A lot of action around that net, and the red shirts really came swarming back to the goal to help protect Brija.
Well, there's the signal from the official on the bench. There's a timeout.
The Czechs calling that timeout, and it's probably a good move, as the Russians seem to be all over them at the moment. The Czechs look tired. The pressure's in their end. They're going to take this 30 seconds to regroup. Look, let's get ourselves together, Pavel Wolf's going to say. Let's be sure of it. Let's get the puck out of the zone. Protect the front of that net.
Well, each team, of course, entitled to one timeout. Tikhonov not talking at all to his players. He knows what he has to do, and he knows, and they know what they have to do out there. He's going to throw on the big guns, I'm sure. And the Czechs are loving every minute of this, aren't they?
They most certainly are, as it's not just the players that get up for this. When the Czechs and the Russians play, the countries get up for this. The fans are up for it. The adrenaline's flowing all over the place. It's great.
It's personal pride. It's national pride. Pavel Wolf taking a lot of time on this one, isn't he?
It's the longest 30 seconds I've ever seen. Good atmosphere, good atmosphere. It's nice to see flags of various countries flowing around the rink. The Oregon player's doing his bit. It's a totally good atmosphere here.
So Kamensky, Bykov, there's the goaltender, Archer Irbe. He'll get the call from Viktor Tikhonov.
Well, they've got the situation they want with a face-off in deep, but it is a little bit early yet. With the Russians putting the pressure on, they're going to wait.
All the way back, up the center of ice, and Irbe comes out for Konstantinov. Konstantinov's pass as we come with 30 seconds remaining. Eventually shot in. The Czechs will be happy just to whistle this one around the boards. It's still not out. Byakin, Bykov. And we have 17 seconds. And there's going to be a penalty on the play. And the Soviets are not impressed with that call. K.Kaisla, no doubt in his mind, with just a few seconds to go, is calling for a penalty.
You just do not usually see the Russians lose discipline like this, and that's twice that Kamensky's picked up a penalty. Here he is with the hook right here. He definitely brings down the Czech defender.
Richard, it takes a brave official to call a penalty against the Soviets in the Soviet Union in a situation like this.
Well, in any game, in the last minute or two of the game, a lot of things are usually let go, and they don't usually want to make a call like that or a hasty call. But Kamensky knows better as well. He's a top caliber player. That's twice during this game he's cost his team with sort of a dumb penalty.
So there's the time, 1943 of the third and final period. The Soviets with 15 seconds now to do something here. Hoping to get that one in front of Bykov. He got a glove to it. Byakin stops, and that's kicked out. 5 seconds. Konstantinov will turn and try to get a long shot. Well, he got it up to Homutov. It's not good enough. There goes the whistle to end the game, and Czechoslovakia celebrate.
Well, Pavel Wol's a very happy man at this moment as his team has played well. They put it all together, and they've won this match 4-3 over the Russians.
Well, a great comeback by Czechoslovakia with that goal in the third period by Tupal, number 16, that power play goal. He got another one shortly after that, was disallowed. It could have been 5-3, but what a great game.
Excellent game. Very good performance, and I look for more from the Czechs as this tournament goes on.
Well, we have more ice hockey action coming up. Join us in a moment. Welcome back to the Izvestia